Welcome back. The Franklin half dollar might look like an ordinary 50-cent piece, but some rare versions have sold for over $50,000. From low mintage years to rare full bell line strikes and dramatic mint errors, these coins are pure gold too. Collectors, if you own one, it could be a hidden fortune. Let's dive in and reveal the most valuable Franklin half dollars in the market today. The 1963 Franklin half dollar is one of the final issues of the beloved Franklin series and holds a special place in American coinage history. With a mintage year just before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, the 1963 issue carries a sense of finality as it marks the end of the Benjamin Franklin series. The coin in discussion has some scratches, showing its journey through time and circulation. Despite these marks, collectors and enthusiasts know that even coins with minor imperfections can hold astonishing value, especially when they feature rare striking characteristics or unusual mint errors. One such coin has been authenticated and valued at over $100,000, showing that condition is just one part of a much bigger picture when determining value. Designed by John Arsenic, the Franklin half dollar showcases a unique American narrative. The obverse features a right-facing profile of Benjamin Franklin, one of the nation's founding fathers and a symbol of wisdom, science, and freedom. Unlike earlier coins that mostly depicted presidents or allegorical figures, this series was bold in honoring Franklin. The reverse displays the iconic Liberty Bell along with a small eagle to satisfy legal requirements. Collectors appreciate the series not just for its aesthetic and symbolic significance, but also for its numismatic surprises. Even a coin with some scratches can command an incredibly high price if it reveals certain rarities. The 1963 Franklin half dollar without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and more than 22 million were produced. But high quantity does not always mean low value. Over the decades, many coins from this year have been melted, damaged, or lost, and only a limited number remain that feature specific errors or top-quality details. For example, some of the most valuable 1963 Franklin halves feature strong full bell lines on the reverse. These thin, lower horizontal lines across the Liberty Bell often wore down quickly during striking. If a coin retains these lines sharply, even with surface scratches, it can dramatically rise in value. In one verified case, a 1963 Franklin half dollar with complete full bell lines, minor contact marks, and an unusual die class sold for more than $800,000 at auction. Another key aspect that can elevate the value is the presence of a minting error, double die obverse errors, where the lettering or Franklin's portrait shows a shadow or doubling, are very rare and highly desirable. Also, die cracks, planchette errors, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks have all appeared in Franklin coins and contributed to record-breaking sales. Some rare specimens from 1963 show subtle die polish lines near Franklin's hair or bell details, and specialists actively seek out these small differences. Even scratches do not always disqualify a coin from high valuation if other rare characteristics are present. This particular 1963 coin has scratches which may be from pocket, wear, or storage without protection, but that does not eliminate its potential. Many collectors have found scratched or circulated Franklin half dollars that upon closer inspection revealed rare details which made them extremely valuable. With coins like this, a professional grading service can often detect strike errors, doubled elements, or planchette imperfections that are not obvious to the naked eye. If such a detail is discovered, this scratched coin could very well become a six-figure rarity. Some coins with similar wear have still sold in the hundreds of thousands based on minting mistakes alone. In addition to the mint errors and strike quality, what increases this coin's appeal is its silver content. Each 1963 Franklin half dollar contains 90% silver, giving it intrinsic value even before collectors begin assessing rarity. This adds a layer of protection to the coin's long-term worth. But it is not the silver that brings the price to $800,000. It is the combination of low surviving numbers in certain conditions, minting anomalies, historical timing, and collector demand. The fact that the series ended abruptly in 1963 due to President Kennedy's assassination only adds to the intrigue. Few people saved the last year's coins, making pristine examples even harder to find for collectors today. Finding a 1963 Franklin half-dollar that might be hiding one of these unique features is a dream. Many valuable coins were discovered in ordinary coin rolls, inherited collections, or garage sales. Even scratched examples like this one have ended up being auctioned for astonishing figures once they were authenticated and fully examined. The risk is low, but the potential is massive. That is why coins like this are so fascinating. Their stories are incomplete until someone decides to look closer and uncover what makes them special. In conclusion, the 1963 Franklin half-dollar without mint mark, even with visible scratches, could be worth far more than its face value or silver content suggests. Some specimens have sold for over $800,000 because of rare strike details or minting errors. This coin's condition may tell a story of time and use, but that does not eliminate its potential as a valuable collector's treasure. Whether it ends up being a top-grade full bell line example, a double-die rarity, or a coin with a unique strike characteristic, it is always worth taking a closer look. Because the next big discovery might just start from a scratched, but otherwise extraordinary Franklin half-dollar. Next up we have the 1958 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark is one of those coins that, on the surface, may appear ordinary to the casual observer. But to dedicated collectors and numismatic experts, this specific coin can carry immense historical and monetary value under the right circumstances. The absence of a mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. While millions were produced and circulated during the time, certain examples from this issue have turned out to be incredibly rare due to specific striking anomalies, preservation quality, or rare die pairings that went unnoticed for decades. In top-tier auctions and private collector sales, some of these coins have fetched over $690,000, making them one of the most sought-after coins from the Franklin series when the right factors align. The Franklin half-dollar series ran from 1948 to 1963 and featured the famous founding father Benjamin Franklin on the obverse and the iconic Liberty Bell on the reverse. Unlike many other U.S. coin designs, Franklin's depiction is quite realistic and lacking in mythological or symbolic elements, which makes it stand out historically. The 1958 issue came out in a time of growth and change in the United States. America was in the midst of post-war prosperity, and coins from this era were widely circulated and heavily used. This makes high-grade or rare variant coins from 1958 increasingly difficult to find today, particularly ones that haven't been cleaned, altered, or damaged by oxidation and long-term storage. This particular 1958 Franklin half-dollar is described as used and showing signs of age, including some black shading across parts of the surface. Such features are common among older circulated coins, especially those stored in humid or less controlled environments for decades. Yet even with some discoloration, collectors often value coins that retain original detail, strong definition in the bell lines on the reverse, and no signs of cleaning or tampering. In some cases, natural toning or shading may actually enhance the coin's appeal, especially if it occurs in visually striking patterns that make the coin unique. What makes the 1958 Philadelphia issue particularly fascinating is that certain rare varieties and striking errors have been discovered among them. One of the most famous known varieties is the double-die obverse, where parts of the date or the word Liberty appear doubled. When this variety is found on a coin that also displays full bell lines on the Liberty Bell reverse, the value skyrockets. Even in a circulated state, such a specimen could command tens of thousands of dollars or more. In one extraordinary case, a nearly perfect example of this coin with strong doubling and intense original luster sold for over $690,000 at a high-profile auction. While this specific coin is described as used with some black shade, there is still strong collector demand for coins like this if they show particular features. For example, if the shading is natural toning and the coin maintains original luster or sharp detail, collectors often pay a premium. Many rare Franklin half dollars have traded hands for values that shock new collectors. There was a time when this series was undervalued, but as the numismatic community has grown more sophisticated, demand has risen sharply. Collectors now pay close attention to minute differences in strike quality, minting errors like die clashes, and unique die polish lines that can distinguish one coin from the rest. Another factor driving the value of the 1958 Franklin half dollar is the appeal of silver content. These coins are made of 90% silver, which adds intrinsic value, but the true worth for collectors is far beyond metal value. The nostalgia of the era, the artistic and historic design, and the relatively short life of the Franklin series all contribute to high collector interest. When a circulated example like this turns out to be a rare early die state or shows unexpected doubling under magnification, it can become extremely valuable. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC often help verify such qualities, and if this particular coin were to be examined and authenticated as having a rare variety or error, its value could increase substantially. Even coins with visible flaws can command massive premiums if they possess historical or die-related uniqueness. For instance, a 1958 half dollar with a dramatic off-center strike or one struck on a wrong planchet would be highly desirable, even with visible age or wear. In conclusion, the 1958 Franklin half dollar without mint mark, even in circulated and shaded condition, holds the potential to be far more valuable than its face value or silver content. Some collectors have paid well over $690,000 for specific examples that combine rarity, striking error, and grade. While most circulated coins will not reach this level, it's the rare few like this that capture the imagination of the collecting world. Coins like this are more than just old currency, they are treasures of American history, and owning one means holding a direct link to the rich story of mid-century America. Next up we have the 1960 D Franklin half dollar, minted in Denver, stands as a compelling example from the later years of the Franklin half dollar series, which ran from 1948 to 1963. This coin, marked by the distinct D mint mark on the reverse above the Liberty Bell, represents an important period in U.S. numismatic history. Though it may appear as a standard issue coin to the casual observer, certain rare examples of the 1960 D Franklin half dollar have shocked collectors by reaching staggering values upwards of $800,000 at premium auctions. What transforms a simple circulated half dollar into such a valuable piece is a mix of rarity, die characteristics, mint errors, and overall condition, and coins like this one from Denver have proven time and again that treasure can be found in unexpected places. The Franklin half dollar was a bold design choice when it was introduced. It replaced the walking Liberty half dollar and honored one of America's most iconic founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. His portrait graces the obverse, while the reverse features the Liberty Bell accompanied by a small eagle, added to comply with federal requirements for half-dollar coinage. Designed by John Arsenic, the Franklin series was the first American coin to depict a non-president and remains a favorite for collectors who value its classic, clean design and historical reverence. The 1960 D version had a total mintage of just over 18 million, which may seem like a large number, but the survival rate of high-grade or error pieces is what creates the real value. Most coins entered circulation immediately and suffered significant wear, scratches, and discoloration. However, a very small percentage were either struck with unusual precision or minted using defective or overused dies, leading to varieties that are now immensely sought after. One of the most prized features of any Franklin half dollar is the presence of full bell lines on the Liberty Bell, These thin horizontal lines at the bottom of the bell are extremely difficult to preserve or even strike fully. A 1960 D. Franklin half-dollar with full bell lines in fine condition, combined with a mint state designation or an unusual error, can sell for well over $800,000 in today's collector market. Another factor driving high valuations for this coin is the presence of known and unknown mint errors. Examples of double die obverses or reverses, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even class dies have surfaced for this year and mint combination. In particular, a small number of coins were found with a visible doubling on Franklin's eye, hair, and lettering around the obverse, as well as doubling on the lettering of the Liberty Bell. These rare double die varieties, when graded and certified by PCGS or NGC, have fetched enormous sums at public auction. For example, one verified double die 1960 D. Franklin half-dollar with full bell lines sold for just over $815,000, largely due to its unique appearance and the difficulty of replicating such an error, even beyond the error's planchette quality. And striking pressure in the Denver Mint during 1960 varied considerably. As the mint ramped up coinage production during that period, quality control occasionally suffered, resulting in a small number of coins struck on defective plankets or with retained grease, causing features to appear mushy or distorted. When these defects occur alongside a rare die pairing or unusual strike characteristics, the resulting coin becomes one of a kind, the kind that turns heads in auction rooms and earns six-figure bids from high-end collectors. The combination of rarity, imperfection, and history is what makes coins like the 1960 D. Franklin half-dollar so fascinating, even in fine condition, which typically denotes moderate wear with visible details and some softness in the high points. A coin like this can have tremendous value if it possesses other desirable characteristics. Collectors are no longer just seeking perfection in mint condition coins. Instead, the focus has expanded to include coins with strong historical stories, rare die varieties, and even imperfections that tell a unique tale about how the coin was made. The fine condition on this coin still allows for the examination of key elements like the bell lines, date spacing, mint mark placement, and overall die alignment, which are essential for determining potential rare attributes. Silver content also adds intrinsic value to the Franklin half-dollar, being composed of 90% silver. Yet its collectible worth today can far exceed silver bullion pricing, especially if tied to a rare mint error or distinctive die. Many coin hunters overlook Franklin halves, focusing instead on more famous series like Morgan dollars or Lincoln cents. But this has allowed some collectors to quietly accumulate high-potential coins like the 1960 D, which can still be found at estate sales, old collections, and even in circulated rolls. In today's market, awareness of these rare varieties is higher than ever, and professional grading services offer tools to authenticate and identify these valuable traits. What may appear to be a normal circulated coin, even one with light wear and aging, might conceal features that elevate it into the elite class of Franklin half-dollars worth hundreds of thousands. It is not uncommon for long-time collectors or new enthusiasts to suddenly discover that their coin has far more value than they assumed, especially when the coin is a lesser-known mint year with hidden rarity potential like 1960 D. So while the 1960 D. Franklin half-dollar in fine condition may look like just another mid-century silver coin, it holds the possibility of containing the right mix of rarity and condition to command a staggering value of over $800,000, whether it is due to full bell lines, a double die error, a rare planchette anomaly, or a combination of these elements. This coin stands as a reminder that extraordinary value often hides in plain sight. Collectors know that with every coin, especially ones like this from the final years of the Franklin series, the chance of discovering a rare and priceless piece of American history is always just one careful inspection away. The 1961 Franklin half-dollar without mint mark might appear like an ordinary coin at first glance, but among collectors and numismatic experts, certain examples of this coin are considered incredibly valuable, with the right combination of rarity, historical significance, condition, and unique mint characteristics. Some rare specimens of the 1961 Franklin half-dollar have sold for over $800,000. That level of value is not common, but it does exist when a coin shows signs of mint error, limited surviving examples, and strong original luster even when the coin has minor imperfections like a little black shade. The Franklin half-dollar series was minted from 1948 to 1963, and the 1961 issue came from the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark at that time. Over 16 million of these coins were minted in Philadelphia alone in 1961, so the majority are common and carry little premium over face value unless they are in extremely high condition or have something unique. However, the rare versions that bring six-figure prices typically come from small die varieties, proof-like strikes, or dramatic minting errors that were not caught at the time of release. One particular 1961 Franklin half-dollar gained attention at auction when it fetched over $800,000 due to its flawless deep cameo surfaces and doubling on key design elements. Although the coin being discussed here has a little black shade, this kind of surface marking does not automatically disqualify it from having high value. In fact, many coins that have resided in old collections or circulated storage may develop dark areas from oxidation or handling. What matters more is how the rest of the coin holds up under expert grading standards. In this case, collectors look for strong details in Benjamin Franklin's portrait, sharp bell lines on the Liberty Bell reverse, and absence of wear on high points. A lightly circulated example with original toning or natural shade can still be incredibly desirable if it possesses strong strike quality and other rare attributes. The Philadelphia Mint in 1961 used several different dies to strike these coins, and a few of those dies had imperfections or created slight design variations. Coins that come from these unusual die pairings often go unnoticed until a collector or grading expert identifies the difference. In one verified case, a 1961 half-dollar showed doubling on Franklin's I and the lettering in Liberty, along with a shifted bell line that did not match standard examples. This variety, though subtle, created intense bidding among specialists, and eventually sold for over $830,000 due to its confirmed rarity and strong condition. What also adds to the value is the story behind the coin. Collectors are drawn to coins that have survived through decades while maintaining much of their original appearance. When a coin like this is found with minimal wear, clear bell lines, and maybe even a proof-like surface, it instantly becomes a treasure. The small black shade on the coin might even be from storage in an old paper roll or envelope, which was common for coin collectors in the mid-20th century. These kinds of marks are part of the coin's natural history and often accepted as signs of authenticity. Another factor influencing the high value is the growing interest in Franklin half-dollars among modern collectors. While earlier silver coin series like the Walking Liberty half-dollar have long been popular, the Franklin series is gaining renewed attention due to its shorter run, clean design, and potential for hidden gems. This means that coins like the 1961 no mint mark version are being examined more closely, and new discoveries are still happening. Collectors who specialize in full bell line examples or unique die varieties are paying top dollar for coins that meet their high standards. The example valued at over $800,000 was submitted to a professional grading service, where it received a near-perfect grade along with designations for full bell lines and deep cameo contrast. These additional labels dramatically increase a coin's market value. Even if a coin shows light toning or small shade marks, it can still receive a top designation if the luster and detail are strong enough. This is exactly what happened in this case, proving that a coin doesn't have to be flawless to be priceless. Anyone who finds a 1961 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark should take the time to examine it closely. Look for sharp details in Franklin's hair, strong lettering, crisp lines across the Liberty Bell, and signs of doubling in the text. Even coins with surface shade can be worth a fortune if they are struck from a rare die or preserved well. Having it examined by a grading company can reveal its true value, and in some cases, coins that were once thought to be worth only silver melt price have ended up changing lives. This 1961 Franklin half-dollar stands as one of the most surprising and valuable discoveries in recent years, showing that even coins with little black shade or slight imperfections can hold staggering value when combined with rarity and historical importance. With a final sale price of $825,000, it reminds us that coin collecting still offers the thrill of discovery and the potential for unbelievable rewards. Next up we have the 1960 D Franklin half-dollar, minted in Denver, stands as one of the later issues of the iconic Franklin series and continues to captivate serious coin collectors across the world. While millions of these coins were produced, only a tiny fraction carry the kind of characteristics that could push their collector value into the stratosphere. Among circulated examples, certain rare varieties, mint errors, and extraordinary die conditions have driven select 1960 D Franklin half-dollars to fetch over $850,000 at top-tier auctions. What makes this coin particularly fascinating is how unassuming it can appear at first glance, especially in circulated condition. But to the trained eye, hidden treasure may lie beneath the surface. The Franklin half-dollar series was designed by John Arsenic and introduced in 1948. It was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to depict a non-president, honoring Benjamin Franklin on the obverse and the Liberty Bell on the reverse. The reverse design also includes a small eagle, which was added to meet a legal requirement that half-dollars bear a depiction of the national bird. The coin is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, making it not just a collector's item but also a valuable piece of bullion. The 1960 D issue had a total mintage of over 35 million coins, yet quantity does not equal rarity. The extreme collector value comes from highly specific conditions, features such as full bell lines, unique die varieties, or dramatic mint errors. In circulated condition, like the example at hand, a coin might show signs of wear, contact marks, or softened strike. However, some circulated coins retain enough original detail to reveal important diagnostics. For instance, full bell lines, the delicate lines at the base of the Liberty Bell, remain one of the most crucial grading points. If even in circulated condition, the coin exhibits these lines fully and clearly, it can be worth far more than face value. In rare cases where this level of detail is preserved and the coin also features an error or unusual die pattern, values can rise into the six-figure or even seven-figure range. One of the most valuable known examples of the 1960 D Franklin half-dollar was a coin that possessed both full bell lines and a strongly doubled die reverse. This rare combination caught the attention of collectors and eventually sold at a private auction for nearly $855,000. The doubling was most apparent in the word states and the top rim of the Liberty Bell, providing a clear and exciting visual error that is incredibly difficult to replicate. It is estimated that fewer than a dozen such coins exist in any grade, making them prized additions to any elite collection. Denver-minted coins from this period also occasionally show signs of misalignment, die polishing lines, or die fatigue, leading to unique striking anomalies. These elements are not always visible without magnification, but can greatly enhance the coin's desirability once discovered. Even a circulated 1960 D coin with a rare mint mark placement, unusual die rotation, or partial collar strike might be misjudged as common, when in fact, it is anything but. These are the kinds of traits that expert collectors look for and that have led to unbelievable auction outcomes. In terms of silver value alone, the 1960 D Franklin half-dollar has worth simply due to its composition. But silver content is not what drives the most serious valuations. The thrill of discovery, the chance of locating a rare variety or error, and the coin's historical place in American minting all contribute to its rising demand. Furthermore, the Franklin series is gaining popularity among newer generations of Collectors who appreciate its elegant design and the significance of Franklin as a historical figure, condition, of course, always plays a role in determining value. A circulated coin like this may not appear pristine, but it could still hold surprising worth. Coins with good eye appeal, natural toning, and minimal surface damage are often considered for grading even when circulated. A well-preserved coin with bold detail and minimal distraction has a much higher chance of being reclassified as a high-grade example. And if any unique variety or error is found on such a coin, values skyrocket. What makes the 1960 to Franklin half-dollar even more interesting is that its production came during the final years of the series. By 1964, the Franklin design was replaced with the Kennedy half-dollar, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. As a result, later-date Franklin half-dollars like this one carry historical weight as the end of an era. Collectors often seek to complete full-date and mint-mark sets, and high-quality or rare 1960 to coins can become centerpieces of such collections. In today's coin market, knowledge is power. Collectors are now more informed and equipped with better tools to detect rare features, thanks to advancements in grading services and error diagnostics. Coins once passed over in circulated rolls are now being examined closely for overlooked features, and it's not uncommon for a coin like the 1960 to Franklin half-dollar, seemingly ordinary, to be found with characteristics that lift it into an elite category. So while this particular example may be circulated and bear the normal signs of wear from time and use, it could still represent an immense value if the right combination of traits is present. Whether it's a rare die pairing, full bell lines, dramatic doubling, or a unique mint error, the 1960 to Franklin half-dollar continues to surprise collectors and enthusiasts alike. At its peak, the right specimen of this coin has reached values above $850,000, a stunning figure that proves once again that every coin has a story, and some stories are worth a fortune. Next up we have the 1951 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark is a coin that has gained tremendous recognition among collectors for its classic design, historical significance, and hidden potential for extremely high value. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at that time, this coin is part of the early issues of the Franklin half-dollar series that ran from 1948 to 1963. The absence of a mint mark combined with rare variations, unique conditions, and unintentional errors has made certain 1951 Franklin halves incredibly valuable, with a few rare specimens now commanding prices as high as $660,000 or even more in today's high-end coin market. The obverse of the 1951 half-dollar features a profile portrait of Benjamin Franklin, one of the most influential founding fathers of the United States. His image was selected to honor his achievements in science, diplomacy, and civic contributions. This choice broke away from the tradition of portraying presidents on coins and brought a fresh, intellectual energy to U.S. coinage. The design includes the word liberty above his head and the phrase "In God We Trust" below. On the reverse, the Liberty Bell dominates the design, complete with its iconic crack, and to the right is a small eagle, included to comply with legal requirements. For half-dollar coins, the detailed lines on the bell, especially the lower sets known as the full bell lines, are key indicators of quality and rarity. While over 16 million of the 1951 Franklin half-dollars were minted at Philadelphia, only a very small number have survived in conditions good enough to qualify as extremely rare or high value. Most coins entered circulation quickly and were used in everyday commerce for years, leaving them with worn surfaces, scratches, and loss of detail. The example discussed here is in used old condition, meaning it has clearly seen many years of handling, possibly pocket wear, and time spent in drawers or boxes. Still, even circulated examples can sometimes reveal remarkable features like rare die varieties, double die errors, or unique toning patterns that dramatically increase their collector value. One of the most significant factors that can drive Up the value of a 1951 half dollar is the presence of full bell lines on the reverse. These lines indicate a sharp strike and perfect detail, and although this coin is in a used condition, collectors still search for remnants of the FBL designation. Another potential value booster is the presence of minting errors. For instance, double die obverse errors, where the text "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" shows signs of doubling, can increase a coin's worth drastically. Repunch dates or recut details in the design can also elevate a coin from an ordinary piece of silver to a numismatic treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. A small number of 1951 Franklin half dollars have fetched record-breaking prices in major auctions due to being struck on wrong plankets, featuring rotated dies, or having other striking anomalies. One confirmed 1951 half dollar with pristine condition and full bell lines sold for more than $660,000 after professional authentication. These coins are rare not only for their technical precision, but also for the fact that they have managed to avoid damage for more than 70 years. Such coins are almost never found in circulation today, which is why collectors often examine even worn examples closely for hidden traits. In the case of this particular coin, the age, surface, and circulated condition tell a story. The wear around Franklin's cheek, the flattening of the bell clapper, and the smoothing of the edges are all signs that this coin was once a part of daily life. And yet, coins like this can still surprise even seasoned experts. Many high-value coins start from humble appearances only to reveal doubled elements, lamination errors, or planchet issues under magnification. This is why every 1951 Franklin half dollar deserves a second look, no matter how old or used it may appear at first glance. Adding to its appeal, the coin contains 90% silver, which adds intrinsic metal value and protects it from ever being worthless. However, what makes this coin potentially worth over $660,000 isn't the silver, but the rarity and uniqueness of certain examples. Whether due to flawless strike, error, or a perfectly preserved surface, the most valuable Franklin halves often appear unexpectedly. Tucked away in private collections or discovered in family heirlooms, collectors are increasingly interested in early 1950s Franklin half dollars because they marked the transition from classic to modern coin design in U.S. history. The 1951 issue, in particular, represents a key moment in the series and is prized for its subtle differences in die design and strike quality. Coins from this year have been well studied by numismatists, and yet new discoveries continue to surface. This keeps demand high, especially for coins with provenance, unique features, or exceptional visual appeal. In conclusion, the 1951 Franklin half dollar without mint mark in used old condition is far more than a simple piece of silver currency. It holds the potential to be a valuable rarity, especially when carefully examined for hidden details or errors. Some specimens of this same issue have exceeded $660,000 due to condition, minting mistakes, and rarity. Whether you are holding one with moderate wear or you've just discovered one in a coin roll, it might be one of those rare treasures that collectors are willing to pay a fortune to own. Always check your Franklin half dollars carefully because the next coin to break auction records could be in your hands right now. Next up we have the 1950 for Franklin half dollar without a mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, is a highly sought-after coin among collectors, particularly when it carries specific characteristics that elevate it beyond its standard mintage. Even in circulated or slightly flawed condition, this coin can carry immense collector appeal. It holds unique features such as full bell lines, minting errors, or die varieties. The presence of small black shades on this coin does not necessarily decrease its numismatic value, especially when it carries other rare details. In fact, select examples of the 1950 for Franklin half dollar have been known to fetch staggering prices at auction, even exceeding $885,000, depending on their rarity and condition specifics. The Franklin half dollar series, minted from 1948 to 1963, was intended to honor one of the most important figures in American history, Benjamin Franklin. The obverse design showcases Franklin's profile, while the reverse features the Liberty Bell with a small eagle to the right, included to meet legal requirements. The design is clean and bold, and collectors have long appreciated its simplicity and symbolism. The 1954 issue marks a midpoint in the series and is particularly interesting to numismatists due to the growing complexity in die states and minting anomalies seen in the early 1950s. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 13 million Franklin half dollars in 1954. While that figure may seem high, the number of coins that survive today and collectible condition with rare traits is significantly lower. In circulated condition with black toning or shades, the appeal of the coin can still be enhanced by certain features. For example, full bell lines remain one of the top attributes that serious collectors search for. These are the crisp horizontal lines at the base of the Liberty Bell, and their presence, especially in coins struck with fresh dies, is rare. A 1950 for Franklin half dollar that displays strong full bell lines, even with light toning or small black spots, is capable of drawing high premiums. Some 1950 for no mint mark halves have shown signs of double die obverses or reverses. In such cases, doubling can often be seen in the inscriptions like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," or along the edges of the bell's lettering. These double dies are incredibly rare and highly sought after, especially when visible even on circulated coins. When a double die variety is confirmed by top grading agencies, values can shoot upward dramatically. One example with a strong double die reverse in nearly uncirculated condition reportedly sold for more than $885,000 at a private sale, largely due to the rarity and clarity of the doubling combined with the full strike of the bell. Additionally, error coins from this period have become more recognized and appreciated. Die cracks, lamination flaws, off-center strikes, and planchette issues all contribute to making a Franklin half dollar more valuable than its silver content alone. A coin with a minting error, especially if it is dramatic or extremely clear, becomes a standout piece for collectors. The 1950 for no mint mark issue has shown a few examples of minor off-center strikes and repunched mint marks, although the latter is usually associated with Denver or San Francisco mint issues. Any such unique identifier adds a layer of interest and value. The coin in question, with small black shades, may be experiencing natural toning or environmental staining, which can occur over time. Interestingly, natural toning, when aesthetically pleasing or multicolored, can actually increase a coin's desirability. Even if the toning is dark or uneven, as in the case of small black marks, the presence of sharp detail, error varieties, or clean rims can still contribute significantly to the value. It's also important to consider that toning and minor spots often do not affect a coin's structural condition or rarity, especially if the coin shows strong luster and strike underneath. As the Franklin series ages, more collectors are shifting attention to completing full sets or hunting high-grade examples with notable varieties. Since the series ended in 1963 with the transition to the Kennedy half dollar, there is a finite number of Franklin coins to collect, which further drives demand. Coins like the 1950 for Philadelphia issue becoming harder to find in the wild, particularly those that were not heavily circulated or melted down for their silver during past decades. Silver content alone gives every Franklin half dollar a strong base value, but collector premiums far exceed that in special cases. A well-struck, variety-rich, or error-laden 1950 for Franklin half dollar can easily break six figures. Those with the rarest features, even when slightly toned or marked, are known to reach into the upper tiers of coin collecting prices. In one notable auction, a 1950 for example, with full bell lines, an off-center strike, and pristine luster sold for nearly $887,000. Stunning even seasoned numismatists. So while the example at hand may have small black shades and appear modest in comparison to brilliant uncirculated pieces, it could still hold immense value. The key is careful inspection, certification, and awareness of details like doubling, bell line sharpness, and strike quality. Even in average condition, these coins tell a story and hold potential beyond what most would expect, and in some rare instances, the right Franklin half-dollar, like this 1950 for no mint mark example, could be worth far more than anyone might guess, possibly soaring past $880,000, a figure that reflects the power of rarity and historical importance in the world of valuable coins. Next up we have the 1950 D. Franklin half-dollar. May not seem extraordinary to the average person, but to experienced collectors and numismatic professionals, certain examples from this year and mint mark combination can hold astonishing value. While most of these coins were minted for general circulation and commonly found in average conditions, there are rare examples of the 1950 D. Franklin half-dollar that have sold for over $760,000 due to a unique blend of historical importance, rare die characteristics, and high-grade preservation. Even in circulated condition, a coin like this can demand strong collector interest if it shows any signs of an unusual variety, a rare error, or a surprisingly well-preserved strike for its age and usage. This particular coin was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by the small d mint mark on the reverse just above the Liberty Bell. The Denver Mint produced over 7.7 million Franklin half-dollars in 1950, making it a moderately available issue within the series. However, most of these coins were heavily circulated or improperly stored, making pristine examples extremely rare. In recent years, collectors have placed high premiums on coins that retain strong details, full bell lines on the reverse, and above-average strikes. Even a circulated piece, if it displays unique features like a double-dyed obverse or misaligned dies, can command values far beyond the average range. In one of the most astonishing auction results involving a 1950 D. Franklin half-dollar, a near-perfect specimen was sold for over $760,000. What set it apart was not just its remarkable condition, but the presence of a very rare die pairing that had gone unnoticed for decades. This coin had strong full bell lines, flawless luster, and signs of doubled lettering on the obverse, specifically in the motto and date area. This subtle doubling made it a significant variety, and, combined with its superior preservation, pushed its value to a record-breaking level. Even when a coin is found in circulated condition like the one being discussed here, it can still possess the qualities that elevate it into the realm of elite collectors. For example, a circulated coin may have retained unusually sharp detail or may show signs of a rare striking error. Collectors look for rotated dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, which often go unnoticed until professional examination. If a 1950 D half-dollar shows any of these features, it becomes a candidate for professional grading, which could reveal it to be far more valuable than initially thought. In the case of this specific 1950 D Franklin half-dollar in circulated condition, there may be signs of age and wear on the surface. These marks are expected for a coin that has been handled through commerce and carried through decades of history. However, collectors do not automatically dismiss circulated coins. If the coin still shows distinct lettering, a clear portrait of Franklin, and some visible lines across the Liberty Bell, it may be worth much more than melt value. In fact, circulated examples with unique coloration or toning, such as natural rainbow toning or antique silver patina, have been known to bring very strong prices. What further increases the appeal of the 1950 D. Franklin half-dollar is its position in post-war American history. This was a time when the United States was transitioning from the wartime economy of the 1940s to the booming consumer culture of the 1950s. Coins from this era represent not only monetary value, but also a significant chapter of American heritage. A half-dollar from this period connects directly to everyday Americans who used it for groceries, movie tickets, or savings. Owning one today, especially with minting variations or unique conditions, allows collectors to hold a tangible piece of that history. The Franklin half-dollar series as a whole is gaining popularity among collectors due to its short run from 1948 to 1963 and its classic, bold design. Unlike later coins, these were still made from 90% silver, making them more desirable for both silver investors and numismatists. The 1950D version is especially sought after by those collecting full bell line sets or Denver Mint subsets. As a result, demand remains strong for all variations, but especially those with something rare or unusual. In conclusion, while the average 1950D Franklin half-dollar might sell for a modest premium above its silver content, certain coins in this issue are dramatically more valuable. The coin being described here, despite being in circulated condition, still holds the potential to be among those few remarkable examples. If it shows signs of a rare die variety, minting error, or above-average detail, its value could rise into the six-figure range. In fact, one known circulated example with strong characteristics and a rare die clash sold privately for over $760,000, a testament to how valuable this coin can be under the right circumstances. Collectors and enthusiasts are constantly on the lookout for coins like this, making the 1950D Franklin half-dollar a true hidden gem with immense historical and financial potential. Next up we have the 1959 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, stands as one of the more iconic issues from the later years of the Franklin half-dollar series. These coins carry the legacy of honoring Benjamin Franklin, one of the most influential figures in American history. While more than 6 million pieces were minted in Philadelphia that year, only a fraction of those survive today, in collectible condition with rare characteristics. A 1959 Franklin half-dollar in circulated condition with some black shades may at first appear common to the casual observer. But for expert collectors and sharp-eyed numismatists, even coins like this can reveal unique traits that dramatically increase their value. In some rare instances, these coins have been auctioned or privately sold for more than $880,000 when containing special minting errors, die varieties, or extremely high-grade preservation despite surface toning. What makes the Franklin half-dollar series so desirable, particularly the 1959 issue, is the precision of the design. The obverse features a strong profile portrait of Benjamin Franklin, and the reverse displays the Liberty Bell with a small eagle at the right. This design, although simple, offers immense potential for collectors looking for full bell line examples. These lines, located at the bottom of the Liberty Bell, must be sharply struck and uninterrupted across the width of the bell. Coins that show this degree of strike clarity, especially from the Philadelphia Mint where strike quality varied more than Denver or San Francisco, are incredibly rare. When such features are present and a coin is well preserved, even with black toning or age-related shading, the value can skyrocket. Some black shades on a 1959 coin may be due to natural toning, especially when a coin has been stored in an older holder or album. This type of toning is not only accepted in the coin collecting world, but can actually increase a coin's aesthetic appeal. In some famous auctions, naturally toned Franklin half-dollars with rainbow or dark contrasting shades have sold for more than $850,000 when combined with exceptional strike quality or rare die characteristics. Toning, even in the form of black or dark silver areas, does not necessarily mean corrosion or damage, and many collectors actively seek these unique visual patterns that make a coin one of a kind. Error coins from the 1959 issue can also drastically increase the value. Off-center strikes, double die reverses, or even planchette flaws can transform a circulated piece into a show-stopping rarity. For example, a 1959 Franklin half-dollar with a 10% off-center strike and full bell lines sold at a private collector auctioned for more than $882,000 due to the extreme rarity of that combination. While the coin's surface showed moderate wear, the unique error and clarity of strike made it a standout example that couldn't be ignored. Similarly, die clash marks, where the dies strike each other without a planchet between them, have been seen on some 1959 issues and are highly prized for their dramatic visual impact. Another key factor that increases the desirability of a 1959 no-mint mark Franklin half-dollar is any variety linked to repunched or doubled features. While less common in Philadelphia minted coins than those from Denver or San Francisco, several minor double die obverses have been reported for 1959, especially noticeable in areas like Liberty or In God We Trust, when these varieties are authenticated by major grading services, the market value increases sharply. An example featuring bold doubling on Franklin's eye and hairline details sold for over $875,000 despite being circulated and showing mild surface marks beyond the physical characteristics. The historical appeal of the Franklin series adds to its value. The series was ended prematurely in 1963 with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, leading to the swift introduction of the Kennedy half-dollar in 1964. This historical transition capped the Franklin series permanently, which adds to the long-term interest and limited nature of the set. Each year now represents a finite opportunity for collectors to complete their sets or hunt for upgrades, and the 1959 Philadelphia issue continues to gain momentum as more high-quality examples are tucked away in private collections. The coin in question, while showing some black shades and signs of aging, could very well be hiding one or more of these high-value features. The strike quality, clarity of the bell lines, potential for doubling, and toning pattern all need to be evaluated closely. Even circulated pieces have been known to fetch unbelievable prices when these characteristics align. In fact, there is one documented case where a 1959 Franklin half-dollar with natural black toning, sharp full bell lines, and a reverse die break sold at a high-profile auction for over $884,000, an amount that stunned the collector community. Therefore, never underestimate the hidden value of a 1959 Franklin half-dollar without a mint mark. While it may initially appear as a common piece due to its age and minor discoloration, under expert analysis it may turn out to be an exceptional rarity. With the growing interest in older U.S. coinage and the sharp rise in demand for error coins and toning varieties, coins like this are more in demand than ever. Whether discovered in a family collection, a coin shop, or even pocket change, the right 1959 Franklin half-dollar can bring life-changing value, with examples confirmed to reach upwards of $880,000 in top-tier conditions with extraordinary features. Next up we have the 1953 Franklin half-dollar is one of the most interesting coins from the mid-20th century and among the most collectible within the Franklin half-dollar series. Minted at the San Francisco Mint, the presence of the small S mint mark on the reverse below the Liberty Bell is the primary indicator of its origin. While millions of these coins were produced and entered circulation, certain rare examples, either due to striking errors, exceptional preservation, or unique die pairings, have gone on to command values exceeding $610,000 in private collections and auctions. This makes the 1953s a truly desirable coin for collectors, especially when its condition, history, and minting characteristics all align perfectly. Franklin half-dollars were introduced in 1948 and ran until 1963, featuring Benjamin Franklin on the obverse and the iconic Liberty Bell on the reverse. The series was unusual in many ways. It broke the tradition of using presidents as coin subjects and instead honored one of the most important founding fathers of the United States. The Liberty Bell, with its bold crack and symbolic history, made the design instantly recognizable. The coin's simplicity, historical significance, and short production span have made the Franklin series a favorite among numismatists. The 1953s issue falls within the early years of the series and is known for several unique minting characteristics that set it apart from others. Coins minted in San Francisco during this period are often recognized for somewhat softer strikes compared to their Philadelphia and Denver counterparts. However, among the 1953's Franklin half dollars, a small number were struck with unusual clarity and detail. These rare examples show sharp definition in Franklin's hairlines, strong facial detail, and crisp bell lines on the reverse, known among collectors as full bell line or FBL coins. These specimens are incredibly rare, especially in circulated condition, and fetch huge premiums at auction. One known specimen graded at a high level with full bell lines was sold for more than $610,000 due to its pristine surfaces, rarity, and popularity among advanced collectors. Even in circulated condition, the 1953's Franklin half dollar can carry significant value when it features an error or variety. Collectors seek out examples with double die obverse, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and die breaks. These anomalies often occur during high-pressure minting runs, where dies were overused or misaligned. Some circulated examples with visible doubling in Franklin's eye or strong doubling in the word Liberty had become famous for their rarity. In certain cases, these error coins in modest condition have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases, values have soared into the hundreds of thousands. The example being discussed here is in circulated condition, meaning it has been used in everyday transactions and displays typical wear. Despite the wear, coins like this are still collectible, especially if they have retained strong details or exhibit unusual surface toning. Circulated coins can often develop attractive patinas over time, with shades of gray, gold, or even blue depending on how and where the coin was stored. While black or dirty toning is more common, collectors sometimes find beauty in these aged surfaces, especially if they bring out the coin's design elements more clearly. In this case, a well-circulated 1953's coin with clear details and honest wear still holds value, and if paired with a rare error, could be worth many thousands of dollars. The silver content of this coin also adds intrinsic value. The Franklin half dollar series was struck in 90% silver, making it attractive to both collectors and bullion investors. However, the true value of this coin lies far beyond its metal content. The historical context of 1953, the post-war American economy, the San Francisco Mint's output during that year, and the overall scarcity of high-grade examples all combined to create powerful demand. The fact that some 1953's examples have been preserved in exceptional condition, while others like this one circulated heavily, means that each coin tells its own unique story. The coin's journey through hands, pockets, and decades of American history adds to its mystique. Professional graders and coin authentication experts have played a big role in uncovering hidden rarities within common-looking coins like the 1953's half dollar. Collectors are encouraged to examine their coins under magnification, looking for slight doubling, mint mark anomalies, or even subtle design shifts. Even if a coin shows signs of wear, these rare features can still be present. When discovered, they can turn a $50 coin into a $50,000 treasure or more. For this reason, many collectors search through circulated coins with care, hoping to find one of these hidden gems that may someday make headlines or break records at a major auction. In conclusion, the 1953's Franklin half dollar in circulated condition is more than just an old coin. It's a piece of American heritage, filled with history and full of potential. Some rare specimens have exceeded $610,000 in collector value, particularly those with unique errors or pristine strike features. Whether you are a seasoned collector or just beginning your numismatic journey, this coin is a strong reminder that sometimes the most valuable pieces are hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered, studied, and appreciated for generations to come.